How's everybody doing here? This is June 12th, I believe. So we got another DeVeaux Speaks today. And today I'm going to talk about, I'm going to share my views on being good and particularly around police, which I know could be a touchy topic. And sometimes I'm hesitant to talk about it because my own experiences in life may make me a little bit biased. But I kind of want to share what some students have said and try to get a little feedback and share my thoughts. So I remember way back, probably a decade ago now, I had a student, Ricky. I think Ricky's still on Facebook, so those who know Ricky, please tag him. I want to make sure I get this story right. But I remember Ricky was interested in being one of the police officers, have, I guess, a volunteer group or something that's not quite an officer yet, that Ricky was joining the job, and then he wanted to be a police officer. And we actually have another student I ran into who's actually a police officer now in Mount Vernon. I remember when Ricky first brought this up about being a police officer, students were getting on him like, oh, Ricky gonna be 5-0, Ricky's a op, and all these other slang they have for police. And as high school students will often do, they wanted to get my opinion. And I, had to check myself as the teacher because I always want to encourage students. But, I told the students, yeah, I know you guys may feel some type of way about the police. Stop and frisk was big then. Students getting stopped at the bodega in the morning trying to get bacon, egg, and cheese, and they're getting their hands put up against the wall and getting patted down before class. And then I have to teach them the quadratic formula after that experience. So I knew they felt a certain way. But I had to tell the students, good police officers are needed and appreciated. If somebody's breaking in my house, I want a police officer to come and handle the situation professionally. If I'm in trouble or hurt or in need, I will want the police to come and use their expertise and resources to help me in a situation. And I don't want people to take the bad in police, which there's a lot of examples, but understand that maybe it would help if more people that live in the community became police officers. I've been reading something. I don't have the study on me, but if somebody could link it, I'll check it. But I know there's a correlation with police brutality when police are not from the neighborhood. In cities, whether like New York City or LA, where the police often come from the suburbs outside of the city, there's an increase in police brutality in those neighborhoods. In cities where most of the police are coming from, within that city, it looks a little bit different. And I think one of the reasons is, though they may not want to admit it, being police officer, you want to be big, bad, and bold, but a lot of it is fear. A lot of times if you're going to murder a child or an unarmed person, it's a lot of times because you're scared. And that's just my feelings on it. And so I feel that if someone's going to be in my neighborhood being a police officer, I want them to come from the neighborhood. So when they see me, they're not afraid. If I put my hoodie on and go jogging, I don't need you being scared. In my lifetime, police officers have killed black men for having a wallet out, Amadou Diallo, having a phone out, a brush. Basically anything is like, oh my gosh, the gun, kill him. And people co-sign that like it's okay. Like, that's not okay. If you're that afraid, you don't need to be police in that neighborhood. So, back to students now, I actually encourage, if that's what students want to do, despite some of my feelings about law enforcement, if that's what you want to do, I'm happy to see more young black and brown youth go into law enforcement. Because at least I know when they're walking down their block in their community, they won't be so scared when they see somebody who looks like them. Let's get back. So now I want to transition. That conversation led to a story about good cops and bad cops. And I know this is another touchy one, but I'm going to share my views, and I'd love to get some people's feedback. I think the word good is very subjective. I think before you even have that discussion, you need to define the word good. I remember I was listening to a talk show. I won't say the name of the talk show host, but they were talking about police brutality, and he made a comment when they were talking about some of the outlandish crimes done by some police. And he was saying, we know the overwhelming majority of police officers are good people. And I kind of paused for a second, listen, like that sounds good. And I heard that narrative a lot. Yeah, there's some bad apples, but most police are good. So a math person, you tell me most, I'm thinking over 50%. Or overwhelming majority, I'm thinking 80, 90%. And I don't know what statistic people are using to say that's good. And I think the problem is this. Because when police officers are sodomizing people, or murdering people, or raping people, and they're thinking, if you don't do that, well, then you're good. I think maybe we need to raise our standard of what's good. I think the standard should be, will a police officer stop another police officer from doing a crime? Right, and I remember there was a story a while back about a female police officer in Long Island who was trying to talk about another police officer doing a crime, and they ran her out of her profession. She had death threats, had to move, chased her out of the job, that the police officers were so tight, even though she was trying to do the right thing and uphold the law, because it was against another police officer, cops were going to try to kill her. I have a friend whose a child is a police officer, and he said a similar thing, said, look, don't be so hard on them, because if you're going into a dark alley or an abandoned building, you want to make sure the guy behind you's got your back, and if he thinks, you were going to tell on him for breaking the law, you got bullets coming towards you, you may have some coming from behind you too. What a terrible way to live. So, yeah, I get it. And I've never been a police officer, but I think I get it. However, also understand this. If you're aware that other police officers are doing crimes, and you're not doing anything to stop or prevent it, I don't know if you could say you're a good cop. I don't know if the standard of good should just be, I'm not directly doing it, but you're not fulfilling your responsibilities. And people say, well, you may not, you don't understand, you're just a teacher. Okay, I get it, but in my profession, and I'm supposed to teach, protect, help kids learn, love children into their greatness. If I know the teacher across the hall is abusing children, he's hurting children, they're having sex with children, and I don't say anything, and I'm like, well, I'm good in my classroom, I don't know if that makes me a good teacher. Maybe I'm good in my room, but am I really honoring my profession if I'm allowing other people to harm children and dishonor the profession? I don't think that makes you a good teacher. I don't know. I mean, a good doctor, sure, know your craft well, but if another doctor is doing malpractice and taking advantage of people and abusing people, and you don't say anything and do anything, are you really a good person? Is a good doctor just what you're doing? Or do you have any responsibility for the patients around you who maybe, have other doctors? So I think we really need to define that. And as police officers, I get it. And I do a lot of workshops, and especially, when I'm in Queens and other places, they have family members who are police officers. And I get the passion that, hey, they got a right to come home. Okay, good, but everybody got a right to come home. Yeah, I don't even, as a black man, I got to tell you, I'm offended when I hear these on TV. Cops, you kill people, but they have a right to come home. Well, doesn't everybody? Don't teachers, architects, children, don't everybody have a right to come home? So I don't buy that your fear allows you to murder people, right? So check yourselves. If you're going into the profession to, you got noble, honorable intentions, then make sure that you're also checking each other. Then I can respect you. I can't respect you if you're not going to check the guy right next to you, because maybe you don't abuse me directly, but you're not going to help me when the guy next to you does. I can't say that's a good person. So I think that's the main thing I would want for police officers. I tell young people going into law enforcement, have some integrity for your profession. And if it's something that you really can't do, if you're afraid, you got a bulletproof vest on, you got the pepper spray, you got the billy club, the cuffs, the gun, the taser, and you're still afraid, you don't need to be doing the job. And that's no insult intended, but just do something else. Right? I've had a friend, we had a career day at a school one time. My friend's a firefighter. He came to the school. He hung out with me for the day. Some kids were being disrespectful. Some kid said something crazy, SMD. If you don't know the letters, hit me up directly, I'll tell you. And he told me, he said, man, Zim, I don't know how you do that. Way these kids are being disrespectful, little kids say that to me, man, I'd punch him right in his face. And, I looked at him, I chuckled for a bit. I said, yeah, I get it. Well, maybe it's good that you're not a teacher. Look, does a child deserve to disrespect me? Do I deserve disrespect? No. But I know in my profession, I teach high school in the Bronx, there is a high chance that a child may say something disrespectful to me. And my response, though I don't deserve to be disrespected, it can't be, I'm going to go hit or knock them out. That's just the profession I chose. If I can't deal with disrespect from children, then you shouldn't teach. That doesn't make you a bad person. If I need surgery when I have my appendix removed, the surgeon, I'm not going to excuse a mistake because you say you're scared of blood. Oh my God, I'm really good at surgery, but I'm afraid of blood. If you're scared of blood, you can't be a surgeon. That's all this is. Whatever your job is, jobs come with certain trials and tribulations, and you need to know what they are, and you can't mess up your job because you have some fear. And if you're scared of black people, if you're scared of brown people, if you're scared at night, it's a dangerous job. Got to run up in an unfamiliar building or something for a suspect, whatever. If your irrational fear means you may murder an innocent person, then maybe you should do something different, right? Or at least be more honest with yourself. Hey, maybe put me over here. I can't really handle that. Don't put me in that community. Let's stop using fear as an excuse to do wrong, right? So, hey, if you want to go into law enforcement, Mr. DeVeaux is all for it, for all the young people. I think it'd be great to have more black and brown police officers, more police officers from the neighborhood. The police officers that come from other places, that's great. But if you're going to be in the Bronx, I feel better if you're from the Bronx. You're living in the Bronx, right? So when the kids up the block are acting crazy, you saw them grow up, you know their parents, you know they're not gangbangers or drug dealers. They're not all scary, threatening people, right? So I think that's important. But my challenge to you is, if you go in that profession, go in with the understanding that there may be coworkers who aren't doing the right thing. And just ask yourself, do you have the integrity, do you have the honor to uphold the law against the people who are dressed like you? Don't just uphold the law against me. I understand that's what you got to do. But can you uphold the law to the guy riding the car next to you? If you can't do that, I'm not going to say you're a good person. That's how I define it. A good person has to do more than just do good actions of their own. But you need to be able to check the people around you. I'm a good teacher not only because I treat the children well, but I'll tell another student, hey, I'm going to tell another teacher, I heard you yelling over there, I heard some things you said, be careful. Teachers say crazy stuff, oh, these kids are animals, I'll check them. No, don't talk like that. I know we're frustrated. They're not animals, they're being children. You got to check each other, right? I do it in my profession, and I want people to do it in theirs. So that's the DeVeaux Speaks for today. Let me know your views, share, post a comment, and let me know other things you want to talk about. Shout out to my first period for giving me the idea for this DeVeaux Speaks. Peace.